I just had a deal die from this. It's ridiculous. I'm sick of it. I'm going to pull my hair out. I'm going to tell you about an issue that amateur sellers and amateur seller brokers do in transactions that can cost you your whole deal, cost you tens of thousands of dollars that you had to spend on advisors to bring your deal to close, only for the seller to drop this bomb on you right before closing. I've had this happen multiple times before, but this one's just gotten on my nerves, and we're never going to let it happen again in one of our deals. And so, not that, it was not that we let it happen, but we're going to make sure it doesn't happen again. So this is what people are doing as sellers. They like to say, hey, I'm selling you my business. Everything's included. You spend several months on the deal. You're paying your advisors tens of thousands of dollars. And you come up to closing and the seller says to you, well, I wasn't selling you my inventory. I wasn't selling you the work in progress. What that means, for example, it's a construction company. Work in progress means the projects that are currently going on. I wasn't selling you my work in progress. I wasn't selling you my working capital. I was selling you my business. Hey, hello, wake up. Working capital, all these things are part and parcel, are part of the business. This is what makes up the business. Sellers, the sellers who do this, they're not going to agree with you on that point. They're going to say, no, that's mine. And obviously, if you did your offer letter right, which we did in this deal that blew up, if you did your offer letter right and you said, hey, we're including all these things, no matter what, sellers will still come back. I'm not saying every seller's going to do this or every broker. Obviously, there's tons of great brokers out there. But I'm not saying everybody's going to do it, but even if you put it in your letter, that's not going to stop them. And so this is what happened in this transaction. It's happened before, is coming up to close. Well, I know in this transaction, it wasn't even at close. Still a month or two out to close, right? Probably could have closed in 30 to 45 days if they hadn't done this. So the guy says, well, no, I'm keeping all the WIP. I'm keeping, 80% of the working capital, and I calculate the working capital different than you. My calculation says it's only 200 grand. Your calculation says it's 800 grand. I did tell you it was 800 grand under my calculations initially, but I changed my mind since then. You only need 200 grand to run this business. And I'm not going to get all the details here. Obviously, if you fall into that trap as a buyer, and I've seen people run into this before, you're doomed. I mean, you're going to have to take out a huge loan. You're not going to make it, and you're going to go bankrupt on this. And then you personally guaranteed it, most likely. And yeah, you're going to be one of the losers on these ones. And so yeah, that's what the seller did. So obviously, we just had to. I mean, we tried to fight with it for a while, and the seller's accountant just kept refusing. Basically, the conversation wasn't going. They weren't making it easy. It wasn't going smoothly. Then they eventually just weren't going to give any more information, is what they said. And so we had to pull the deal. And this is, several months of work and time and advisor fees. It's ridiculous. So make sure this doesn't happen in your deal. Obviously, just adamantly communicate with the seller up front that all these things, the WIP, the working capital, and the inventory, are included in the purchase. And, hey, if it's a sensible seller, he's not going to confuse you. But if you don't bring it up, if it's not in your offer letter, you're definitely asking for trouble. And with bad sellers or bad brokers, you might get in trouble anyways.